This is On the Hunt at foxnews.com. I'm Jonathan Hunt. I don't know about you, but I like my political candidates interesting. You know, Walter Mondale might have been a lovely man. Mitt Romney might have great policies. I have no opinion on either of those things. But frankly, were they entertaining candidates? No. The Democrats look as though they're on course probably to have a very interesting candidate in 2016 in the shape of Hillary Clinton. But what about the Republicans? Hard to get more entertaining on the campaign trail, I'd say, than New Jersey Governor Christie. So, is he going to do it? And if he does, boy, what'll happen next? Joining me to discuss the man himself are Julie Roginski, former advisor to Senator Frank Lautenberg, of course, steeped in New Jersey politics, and Tom Basile, former executive director of the New York State Republican Party. First of all, Julie, wow. I mean, Hillary against Christie would be fun to watch.
It'd be great. It's not going to happen because there's no way Christie's getting the nomination, but it would be hilarious to watch.
Do you think he should run them?
Sure. He's got nothing else to do. He can't run for re-election. You know, why not? He's entertaining. He provide all of us with entertainment. But he's got at least 3, but probably many more issues before he even contemplates getting this nomination.
Bridgegate?
Bridgegate is number 1, and despite the fact that he's saying it's over, I haven't seen the U.S. Attorney in New Jersey say that it's over.
Right.
Or even say that he's not involved in it, despite what his people were peddling. 2, the fact that under his stewardship, New Jersey's, I think, 47th, 48th, 49th, 50th across every economic metric in the country. 3, well, actually, I can keep going. It's more than 3.
3's probably enough.
3, the fact that he's got a little bit of a bully problem, which
right.
Those of us from New Jersey, and I know from New York as well, probably don't want the rest of the world thinking that we're all like that.
And we saw that, Tom, just the other week on the anniversary of Superstorm Sandy, where he told a heckler, sit down and shut up.
Yeah.
I mean, it might work well in New Jersey, where they're all bullies, as Julie proved.
We are.
But that's not going to fly on the presidential campaign trail.
No, and what's interesting about this hypothetical matchup is that both of these people, Hillary Clinton and Chris Christie, have the same problem, and it's called likability. And it's something that Hillary's very well defined. You know, her Secret Service agents think it's like a demotion to go cover her because she's so nasty, and she's so nasty to the people around her. You know, people are going to hear a lot about, you know, the really nasty cold side of Hillary Clinton. That's gonna dog her during this campaign. And the same thing is true for Chris Christie. He's got a lot of work to do to go from being a guy that makes for great television to somebody that people feel connected with.
Would you agree with Julie that he cannot get the Republican nomination anyway?
I think that his advisors are going to tell him that it's worth trying. I think that people find him interesting enough where he could add to the dialogue somehow. And I think that he will run. But you do have to be likable, and there's a big difference between being a guy who's seen as tough and a guy who's seen as arrogant. It's a very fine line, and you don't want somebody who looks mean-spirited.
Does he, from your deep knowledge of Jersey politics, does he play the role of being the Jersey tough guy, and do you think he has the ability to just turn that off?
He does. I mean, first of all, if you met Chris Christie on a personal level, there's no funnier, down-to-earth guy.
Oh, you'd like him.
You'd love him. But I think Christie has begun to drink his own Kool-Aid, and that's very dangerous. When you start believing your own press, and you start believing your own Kool-Aid, and you start believing that this whole Tony Soprano New Jersey attitude, which he would say, of course, why would you be so anti-Italian? But the reality is it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that he's walking around like a thug, telling little old ladies, literally, that he wants to take a bad ad on them, calling a legislator numbnuts, calling another legislator a jerk. I mean, this is not how you behave as governor, never mind how you behave as president. His other problem, by the way, is within the Republican Party. Look, what he did to Rob Astorino, the Republican candidate in New York, where he essentially threw Rob Astorino under the bus and then backed the bus over him. If you're a Republican in New York, and I believe New York is a Super Tuesday state, correct?
Yeah, I believe so, yeah.
I mean, New York Republicans will have a lot to say about this nomination. Their own fellow Northeast liberal liberal Republican, I should say, or he won't claim he is, but he's more liberal than others, across the state line. That's going to be problematic.
Yeah, but that's kind of inside baseball to a certain degree. I think what he really needs to do is go back to that middle-class kid you know, from that Italian household, growing up in a middle-class neighborhood in Jersey, and talking about, look, Chris Christie's no millionaire. He's not somebody who is easily labeled as out of touch with ordinary people, and he needs to get back to that message.
It's a fact, is it not, Tom, that in both the Republican and Democratic primaries, it's the further out wings of both of those, the more motivated voters who are deciding the primaries. That makes it difficult for somebody who would be perceived generally as a more moderate Republican.
Generally, but what we're going into with 2016, because this president, the current president, has been so far to the left and is so unpopular, and people within the right wing of the party can't stand him, there are a lot of people out there who are saying to themselves, we want to win, and we're going to take a broader view as to how we look at who our nominee is and what their electability is in the general election. And so I think that does provide an opening for somebody who's more moderate, like Chris Christie, to at least play, perhaps more than they ordinarily would.
Who, in 2 words, because I've got to wrap it up, who as a Republican would frighten the Democrats the most as their nominee?
Scott Walker, I think, is the strongest guy they could nominate right now.
Really?
I think Scott Walker is an incredibly strong candidate for the Republican Party.
Tom, 2 words?
I think somebody like a Mike Pence.
Okay.
Mike Pence,
Strong governor, Midwestern state, good
Interesting.
record.
Well, we shall see. And talking of things we'll talk about a lot in the future, this is one of them. You'll get all the politics, as always, at foxnews.com. Go check out the webpage. This has been On the Hunt at foxnews.com.